matchmaking stuff, right? Like, we all know that like there's like a big, huge controversy or so with Call of Duty, right? With their matchmaking, like the skill-based matchmaking stuff, and it's been like ridiculed apparently and all that stuff. So apparently they tested it and they turned it off, and apparently it says right here it didn't go well. So I'd be curious. Turning that off is chaos and also not good for people in general. Cause I know for a fact, like even in the older games, there was like some skill-based matchmaking, you know, to some degree, you know. So I know that yeah, it's the only reason why Call of Duty has kind of sucked or so is because they went for this realistic like realism thing, you know. Imagine it's your first day at work and and your role is the CEO already. Yo, that'd be pretty cool. I ain't gonna lie. Wait, what? I'm CEO already? Oh, let's go. Yeah, no, even in the old games or so. Look up funny cookout fight. Later, not right now or so. I already got my I always got my planned stuff scheduled. If you want me to react to anything, just post it in the Discord or so. XDefiant didn't had it. Didn't see people complain about it. That's also true as well, because like XDefiant doesn't have skill-based matchmaking, and I honestly don't have no problem with it. The only thing I have problem with is the progression system in that game. You know, the progressing to getting like attachments and all this other stuff. You know, it kind of left me in a big disadvantage because I was just like, I didn't play it on day one because Withering Waves came out on that week, and I was just like, you know, I want to play I want to play Withering Waves over XDefiant, so that's the only reason why. And then I didn't get the chance to it until like what, a week, 2 weeks later or so after release. But I was at a huge disadvantage or so compared to everyone else who had, you know, who unlocked attachments and everything like that. And I was just getting completely curb stomped, and I was just like not having fun. And it was just kind of like, I had more fun in the beta. What is it? Yeah, the beta. I think the second or the first beta or something. No, the first beta, compared to the release date or so of XDefiant. Tier time. I don't know what that word is. Time for some gamer says guacamole gamer fart. You know, funny, I have guacamole at in my refrigerator right now. Look at the new Modern Warfare 3 add weird characters in game, so different now and turned into Fortnite. They just have skins or so. To be honest, none of the skins really like entice me. I think like the only one that kind of like entices me a little bit. I know that it's available on Xbox Game Pass, but we'll be looking at a video later about that, right? Because apparently there's been hackers been rampant or so on Call of Duty, on Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, apparently, ever since it got released on Xbox Game Pass. Because apparently, the Xbox Game Pass version of it doesn't have Ricochet on it. So then the fucking hackers have been going fucking buck wild over there, specifically. So I play COD games for the campaign, Kick W. Yeah, I play it, but like the problem is just like none of the Call of Duties, right, has like kind of like hit the right spot, you know? It could be because like the one thing that I always hated about it is like they went towards this like realistic, like super realism shit, and I'm just like, Call of Duty wasn't like that. Call of Duty was an arena shooter that's just you know, Rambo style with your head, you know, with your with a chicken head cut off. You know, you just run around, be stupid, you shoot people, you know, you feel like a one-man army, you know. That was fun. Like that was the good times of, you know, of like fucking Call of Duty or so. But now it's just like, now it's being like tactical and slow and all this other shit. The movement feels so fucking clunky compared to like the older Call of Duties, right? Because I felt like when I played, what is it, Modern Warfare 2, what is it, 2019 or so? When I was playing it specifically on stream, I was just like, man, dude, I feel so slow. I feel so sluggish. I do not like this movement whatsoever. And then I went to go back and play an older Call of Duty, and I was just like, man, this feels way better, to be honest, when it comes to movement-wise. And Call of Duty can't never have good days. Now got hackers again. Apparently, there's even more hackers now. Yeah, in the old days, it was definitely more funner. People should just play Airsoft if they want realistic graphics. That's true. Let's take a look at it. What made the skill-based matchmaking like terrible? I assume they tested it out on the Modern Warfare 3 one, I assume. But let's take a look, shall we? I'm curious.
Skill-based matchmaking, hotly contested issue in the world of gaming and shooters. A lot of people say that it can ruin their time with a game like Call of Duty or if it comes to a game like X Defiant, it's going to ruin it because what usually.
Yeah, but like X Defiant doesn't have it. And it's doing pretty well, to be honest. You know, it has a pretty good. Well, I don't know how many people are playing it, because I don't have the numbers, because it's on Ubisoft fucking launcher, of course. You know.
Usually is said is that people who like these types of games don't want to get all sweaty 24/7. They want to come back home and just have a fun time and relax and not stress about it. And that is a sentiment I think we can all agree with. Nobody likes struggle bus in every single match. It's nice to have the occasional blowout. I get that. I can understand it. But skill-based matchmaking as a concept was born out of a very real problem, which is just that for every match that you play and you kick, the other team's butt devastatingly, I mean, it's just you blow them out in every way, there's another team that's also suffering. Like, it's not as if those people don't exist, right? So if you say I want half my matches to be matches where I have 35 kills in a round of Warzone or something, and then I get first place easily and I can just relax and chill, there are people out there who suffered under that 35 kill streak, right? Like, it wasn't that much fun for them. Might have been fun.
Yeah, but at the same time, I got my butt handed to me multiple times in Black Ops 1, because Black Ops 1 was the first like multiplayer game that I played, right? I got my ass handed to me multiple times. Multiple times. I was shit. Like, I was completely fucking shit, of course. But I kept improving and kept playing every single day, to improve better and better and better, increase my sensitivity to have a more faster reaction and everything like that, You know what? The funny thing about it specifically, how I started with Call of Duty was with a friend of mine, and he brought over his PlayStation, because I still only had a PS2, right? And he brought Black Ops 1, and he brought 2 controllers with him, and we played split screen. We played split screen multiplayer, and we played split screen zombies. And the one thing that I always did or so, right? Because like he was more like, I wouldn't say he was super skilled, right? Because I can completely smoke him now. Well, later on or so I smoked him completely. But like at the very beginning, right? I just mostly just like stood in a corner and then just put a claymore at the door and then watched his back, while he was shooting at people, specifically back then in Black Ops 1, That's what we did. Well, that was my job, basically. That's all I did, because I couldn't, I just wasn't good. I didn't know about what the weapons did. I didn't know anything about recoil control, sensitivity wise, and all this other stuff, back in Black Ops 1. Thought you were a pro gamer. I'm not a pro gamer. I didn't get serious into Call of Duty until Black Ops 2, when I started doing more, when I started going to LAN tournaments or so in my local area. So yeah, I didn't really get into it until way later in Black Ops 2, because like I think somewhere in like halfway of the life cycle of Black Ops 1, I started to get a little bit more better, but I wasn't where I was compared to my Black Ops 2 phase, compared to my Black Ops 1 phase. My Black Ops 2 phase would completely smoke the shit out of my Black Ops 1 time of playing Call of Duty or so. So yeah, no, like I didn't even know any of the stuff, right? I didn't know that silencers, like, supposed to hide you from the map, or like Ghost was supposed to cover you from UAVs and shit like that, right? I didn't know any of this shit, okay? Because remember, I didn't own the game, right? I didn't own it until like super way later, like super way later. So in the lifespan of Black Ops 1, I think they made, I think if I remember correctly, they made 4 DLC packs, I think. And I think I made it on the 2nd or 3rd one of the DLC pack. I think so. I don't know. It's been like a while. It's been like a while for Black Ops 1 specifically, and that's how it basically is. Like, I got my ass handed to me multiple times in Black Ops 1, but then like I slowly started getting better, of course. And then I didn't get serious until Black Ops 2, because if I remember correctly, I think Black Ops 2 had rank play, I think, if I remember correctly. I don't know. It's been so long since I remember about Black Ops 2.
for you, but those people did not have fun. Hextech.
I play a lot more variety games now. I went back to playing more fighting games. You know, I play some fighting games here and there, JRPG games, just anime Eastern games a little bit more, because the problem is the Western side of the West. Well, do we need to talk about the Western side of gaming, about the state of Western side gaming? You know, let's, you know, yeah.
Hannah, thank you for subbing at tier 1 over on Twitch. Thank you, my friend. Thank you. So you just have to like broaden your perspective, okay? You got to broaden the perspective and think about all those other players. And then you start to realize why some of these companies might want to start exploring skill-based matchmaking.
Yeah, but but why wasn't matchmaking back then in Black Ops 1, huh? I was getting my ass handed to me almost 24/7 every single time my friend brought over his PS3, you know, because I wasn't really that good, you know. So where was the skill-based matchmaking there, huh? Where was the protectiveness for me to get better, you know? No, that it was just like, I had, like, seriously.
Because if you have a group of players, I don't even know how I'm going to draw this, but if I always go crayon because I feel like it's appropriate for talking about video games. If we have the sweats and we have this like little group over here of sweats, okay? And then we have like mid-tier players. There's a lot more mid-tier than there are sweats. So we have mid-tiers. And then there's just an ocean of noobs, okay? The sweats are the ones primarily concerned with skill-based matchmaking. That's who I typically hear talk about it, is the people that are actually really good and don't like being paired exclusively with others.
Actually, this is false. Actually, this is actually very, very, very false, because you want to know something? Because the reason why specifically, right? There's actually some people from the casual area that actually do complain about this specifically. It's not just only the sweaty people now, because what's his name? I think Nero Cinema or so, because he has friends, right? And then he brought in a friend who's like a super, super, super new, very casual player, right? He actually hates playing. He hates playing with Nero because he always has to go up against with sweaty players all the damn time, specifically. And he just didn't want to play with Nero anymore because, you know, the skill-based matchmaking, just because the skill-based matchmaking, like, specifically, right? One of the big things that, like, you know, that's the issue, right? Is that the casual players don't really improve on their skills. You know, they really don't. You know, they give them these really easy lobbies with these really easy players specifically. You know, they do really fantastically right, but like they see like no improvement whatsoever. But then when they go up against an actual like above average to a sweaty player, they completely get dominated or so. It's because they've always been playing against other casuals at the same time. So that's the only reason why, you know, there are some casual players that actually do complain about this specifically, not just only the sweaty players, because even Nero has also explained this specifically on this video. So I just wanted to put some insight on that. So
sweats, because when they're just paired with each other,
they
end up struggle busing constantly because they're fighting other people who have 2, 3, 4 KDs, and it makes every match very, very stressful and intense. Even and fair, but not the laid back chill blowout type of thing that you would hope for. But here's the problem, is if they do break away from skill-based matchmaking.
How can you improve when you only match with players with the same skill ceiling? I don't know. You can't really, because remember, there was this one YouTuber or so, right? He literally like made his like skill so shit. He got into a lobby or so with a lot of like very terrible players. When I mean terrible players, I mean fucking awful players. Like, I've never seen such bad players in my entire life. It makes me feel like an above average player, you know? So there was this one specific YouTuber, right, that he made a video specifically. He was playing Black Ops Cold War, and he was in the airplane or so specifically, and he shot like a couple bullets next to a bunch of enemies, right? There was like about roughly 4 to 3 enemies in the airplane, and he was like right behind them, and he was shooting. He was like completely shooting like around them, right? The people were not reacting whatsoever. Like, they did not shoot at him. They didn't react. They saw him. Like, one of them actually saw him, and then he shot at him, like he put a little bit of bullets inside of him, and then the enemy reacted and started shooting at him, and I was just kind of like, there's no, like, so these are the players that are being basically protected, basically, and these are the kind of players that said that they are good, quotation marks, good, but we all know for a fact they're not good. And you can't really improve your skills or so, because the moment they get into like because we all know that rank system specifically. Oh god, my camera's glitching out or so. But you know that, like, specifically that rank itself, what was I gonna say, has more of a tighter skill-based matchmaking compared to public matches or so. And when they get into there, they're gonna get completely curb stomped. So it's just kind of like, it's just not that super great, to be honest. Quick question: do Call of Duty got bots now for new players, for new persons? No, no. At least to my knowledge or so, not a Stitch. At least to my very knowledge or so. Well, I don't know. I don't know if they changed or not, but I know they don't have. I know back in Black Ops 1 they had boot camp training or so, that you get up to like level 20 or so, and it'll like give you, like, it'll make you play with AIs. Like, it'll play against with AIs, and I think you'll have people on your team or so. I don't know. It's been like forever since Black Ops 1 or so since I played it specifically, but I know for a fact there's no bots. At least there's no bots, at least for this new Call of Duty, to my knowledge. You only get better by going against someone better than you. It's so you can see the difference of your skill. Yeah, of course. Like, I always go up against people who are always better than me. Why do you think I was more interested in rank play back in, what is it, Black Ops 2? I got into rank play in Black Ops 2. And then there was like a lot of local tournaments in my local area, and I went with my friends there, and we pretty much we won some of them or so, because we were pretty good, so.
And they put everybody into a pool together, which is what typically is requested. Make a mode that's unranked where everybody gets mixed in together. There's no matchmaking based on skill. It just puts everybody into the same bucket and you play them, and good luck. The problem with that is there's a lot more bad players playing these games than there are really good players. So inevitably you're going to get, if this is, if we have a bucket of unranked, there's probably going to be a ton of, let's just say,
I don't play rank anymore when it comes to like first-person shooters anymore, just because of recently there's just been too many hackers. There's been people using those Cronus Zen shit, and it's just kind of like, that's why I've never bothered of going into rank in any FPS game. Like, I played it with my friend or so back then, but the problem is, like, the higher you get up in the ranks or so, specifically, right, when you're ranking up from like the bottom tier, which is bronze, of course, and then you go all the way up, which is masters. Usually masters is always the usual basic term of like getting the highest of the highest or so, right? The higher you keep going, the more you start realizing that there is some very weird, like, just like weird, like kind of like weird, like almost like aimbotting kind of type of thing. So that's why I just stopped playing ranked in general, because I was getting this weird suspicious, and I'm like, either getting killed around a corner before I even showed up, or they knew I was in a specific corner while I'm waiting for them to show up, or they auto lock onto me when I'm coming through or so. I've had my few fair shares of like dealing with hackers or so specifically, and I've noticed them. I noticed them kind of because it's just kind of weird, It's just there's just some weirdness or so. I just wish there was a way. I wish they would just use like AI technology to like completely eliminate, because we're going into the age of AI stuff and whatnot. I just wish they would just use that technology in order to combat against, the hackers and all these programs and all of this other shit. It would be nice if they can use it, but I don't know how they would do it or so. But who knows? Maybe in a few years, maybe they'll find a way how to use it specifically for AI to combat against these cheaters or so, and then maybe I can try ranked again. But by that time or so, I think my skills would probably in FPS games would probably be deteriorated to pretty shit. So
casual or low skill players, a decent number of medium players. And
that's very true. A lot of hackers just ruin online gaming in general. Just because okay, so there's multiple things, right? There's multiple aspects specifically that ruins, like, it's, either they're a Twitch streamer, right? Trying to get the clout, calling out the Call of Duty community. They want to get that clout, right? They want to get that, they want to be in that esports shit, or get the money or so, or show off their quote unquote gaming skills, quote unquote gaming skills, right? That's pretty much one of them, right? That's pretty much one of the big major things. It's just for clout or so specifically. Some of them, like I said, specifically, they either want to be on a team or so, right? Or get scouted or so they play ranked or so. But then once they find out that they're doing that or so, they completely get shafted specifically. So, or they just want to hide their bad skills. They don't know how to play really good. So I bet you, like, for me, I'm above average. I'm gonna be honest with you. I used to be, like I said, I used to be semi-pro or so, but yeah, that's been like a long time ago. So I don't think I have the skills anymore to be like that anymore, which kind of sucks, to be honest, because number one, they got rid of some of the fun aspects specifically, but XDefiant does have that fun. XDefiant does have that fun aspect, right? Like, as much as I don't like certain things off the game, it does have that real fun aspect at the end of the day. But with Call of Duty itself, it's just, I don't know. It's just Call of Duty. It's just not fun, Like, who knows? Maybe Black Ops 6 might change my mind, but we'll see. I'll be honest with you. I don't know. I have my expectations with Black Ops 6 super low when it comes to the multiplayer aspect, but we'll give it a shot when it comes out. I always give games a try, and then I'll sit down and then formulate my opinion of what I think about the game itself.
And then just a few sweats. But those sweats are going to crush everybody beneath them, and they're probably going to have a really good time. But what just happened? You kept this sliver very happy, but everybody else underneath didn't have a very good time.
So I played. Look. I get it. I understand. I'm still gonna pull out the Black Ops 1 thing, right? Because you want to know something? Because I got my ass curb stomped multiple times, specifically, right? In Black Ops 1 when there was Nuketown, right? I had fucking kill streaks rained on me. I got the chopper gun. I got dogs. I got the fucking the Blackbird named on me. Fucking there was like so much fucking shit, that I got like completely curb stomped or so, right? But it didn't make me like quit. It didn't make me rage. It didn't like I didn't want like, I'm turning off this game. I don't want to play this game because I think this game is stupid. No, I generally just like was like trying to learn to be faster and quicker and react a little bit more faster, and then be more aware of my surroundings when it comes to the Call of Duties and the kill streaks and what they did and everything like that, right? I watched YouTube videos. That's when I started learning YouTube videos. I learned from, I didn't learn from like, from like actual tutorial stuff, right? I looked at like some of the funny moments and stuff like that. I learned what things did, and then I looked at what was his name? What was his name or so? I know that he did some stuff or so. This was back in Modern Warfare 3 too as well. But I forgot to name some of the YouTubers or so that I used to watch or so, specifically for like learning. And then also my friend would teach me, and then my friend would teach me as well. Like, we would have a one-on-one session in a private match, right? And he would teach me how to, how to do certain things and everything like that, right? So it's just kind of like, it's just to learn. If you don't want to learn, it's just like, well, that's just you at the end of the day. You're just lazy at that point, and you're just not good. It's very simple as fact,
And the clearest, I mean, if you've ever played one of these games, you probably know exactly what that feels like because you've run into one of those sweats yourself. But like, if you look at this, let me see if I can find it. Yeah, it's like 3 years ago, I think. Yeah. Aiden, who is a very, very good player, very, very good. He posted this video of him breaking the all-time solo kill record in Warzone, where he went in to quads. So they're 4-player teams, but he goes in by himself and starts curb stomping. Now, my understanding is the way that this worked at the time, I don't know if it's still the way, but the way that it works, but at the time, how I saw it explained by some esports pros was, if Warzone had a team, let's just say, of like,
I guess
the team's KD averaged out to 1.
I believe he root on this point because you can have a great player on your team and because mixed with good players and okay persons. I believe more fair that way. Yeah, because now these days, right? Like I've experienced it, right? Because I played some of the newer Call of Duties, but not for a long time or so because it just doesn't feel very fun to me, right? Sometimes I get mixed up with like average to below average and then terrible players, right? And then there'll be always that one person that's like super ridiculously good, you know? And then compared to the opposite team, right? This is always a pattern. This is always a pattern every single time I don't know why. But then like the opposite team would have like the top 3 or the top 4 players be like the best of the best. And then like, you know, the last 2 players are pretty much like average players, you know? But then the enemy team, which usually will be sometimes my team members, right? Like it'll be like only one person at the top, maybe 2, and then the rest is just fucking dog shit. So I was kind of like the balancing in the lobbies or so are definitely very unfair, you know? It's very unfair, you know? It's just 1 or 2 guys shitting on the whole lobby. Yeah, if they took yeah, it just really depends like how it is.
1. Let's just say it averaged out to 1. So blue team's KD is 1. Aiden comes in, and Aiden has a 4 KD. But because he's going into quads, they divide it by 4 because it's divided by 4 players. And so Aiden's KD is now interpreted as effectively 1 for his squad because there's only 1 of him. So he's matched against 1 KD players who are significantly worse than him in lobbies. Granted, there's 4 of them that he's going up against, but they are well beneath his skill level. And
I'm gonna say this is I'm gonna say this. It's not a hot take or anything, but this is a true fact, right? Every new FPS game caters to vagina players. You want to know why? You want to know why? You want to know why? There's a reason why. I hate battle royale games. The reason why I hate battle royale games, right, is because every single battle royale game has a fucking shield mechanic, right? The amount of people I've cracked shields, right, throughout my entire time playing Apex Legends, and then also the fucking battle royale for Call of Duty, right? And also even back in Blackout or so, you know, I don't remember if Blackout has fucking shielding. I don't fucking remember, to be honest. But mostly fucking Apex and Warzone, right? The amount of people I've cracked shields is basically I killed them, you know? And that shit pisses me off so damn much that they literally like, oh, I fucking cracked him, but I can't do anything because he's a fucking across the other side of the fucking city or so. But I literally cracked his ass. So I'm just like, that's a kill. That's 100% a kill. That should be mine. But no, they have to give the little babies a shield because they know for a fact they're not fucking good. I'm just saying, if you go back to my VODs or so, when I played Apex Legends and I played the Warzone shit, right? The amount of cracks that I've done or so, and it's just like, and then the amount of times I've like they returned back or so and killed me, and I get punished for it. I'm just kind of like, man, dude, you see those assists right there? Every single one of those should have been a kill. So. And believe no one wants to play with sweaty persons all the time, but wrong on this point. Warzone, if one person can beat 4 players, believe should get good. Shields in game sucks. Yes. Shields in battle royals are for vagina players. So if you play Warzone a lot, you're just a vagina player. It's just pointed fact. So I'm sorry. If it hurts your feelings, I don't give a fuck. I don't care. I don't care. I don't really care, to be honest. Even then, like I've seen let me see, I've seen what are you talking about? Like I've seen what's his name or so from Apex, the god tier movement plus person or so in Apex Legends or so. he goes 1v, he does 1v fucking 3 all the time. You know, he 1v fucking he sometimes he does 1v everybody in the goddamn lobby, to be honest, you know, because of his movement speed and how he does his shit, you know. So these young bucks got nothing on us on us OG gamers. Yeah, they have this shielding shit that makes it so easy for them, to be honest.
And as you watch this, like, you can see Aiden's having a great time. Like, he's curb stomping all these people.
Isn't he a professional player though? Like, isn't Aiden a professional player? I feel like this guy is a professional player.
And they don't stand a chance. So he probably had a great time during this match. Everybody that he ran into had a miserable time.
I'm like, it's like you're fighting against players. Of course it's gonna be always unfair and like if you get killed or so, for specifically, you know, if you're going up against a pro player in an open lobby, of course it's gonna be super unfair. Like, come on, man, it's not that fucking difficult, you know. But also, let me see something real quick.
During this match, and they don't. Aiden's having a great time. Like, he's curb stomping all these people, and they don't stand a chance. So he.
Well, that's a weird lock on. I'm not gonna lie, to be honest. I don't know. I'm just saying, you know. Like I said, I always take every Warzone player with a grain of salt. To be honest, I don't really. You know, there's a lot of hackers and cheaters or so in the Warzone community. So that's why I don't really look at any like content creators for Warzone. I don't look at any content creators for Warzone. I don't look at any Twitch streams specifically for that. I don't, like I said, if you can come here in my fucking goddamn recording station and play Warzone right in front of me, you know, and you drop a 60 bomb kill just like this guy or so, or a 40 bomb kill or something, you know, then I'll believe you. I'll believe you that you're a legit player. But but if you do not come here in my goddamn recording station or so and play Warzone in front of me, you know, and be like, I'm sorry, you're a hacker. I don't care. I don't care. You can deny it as much as you want, you know. I'm sorry, but it's been proven multiple times that there's been just a lot of people in the Warzone community that just cheat. So, you know, I don't know this guy, right? I don't know this Aiden person specifically, right? He could be a professional pro player, you know. Like I said, I don't know. I'm just saying from what I've seen specifically. There's just been too many cheaters in the Warzone. So I just kind of take everything as a grain of salt. I take everything as a grain of salt, and I just kind of like, you know, so. A lot of Call of Duty players only show best videos. You know who doesn't show like the best of the best videos, right? 402 Thunder. 402 Thunder is one of those OG Call of Duty commentary channels or so that shows good gameplay and bad gameplay at the same time. And I just enjoy his commentating. That's pretty much about it, you know. And that's one of the OGs of Call of Duty commentators that still thrives this day, you know.
He probably had a great time during this match. Everybody that he ran into had a miserable time. And I mean, you can just see the difference in skill level with him coming in, just his movement, how he's handling these encounters tactically. I mean, it's just not even close. It's not even close. So this is kind of what happens. This effect will happen if you turn off skill-based matchmaking. Is you'll occasionally run into.
Haven't heard that content creator in eons. Glad the homie's still going strong. Yeah, man, he has 2 YouTube channels. He uploads on his Thunderstruck Gaming a little bit more because he does a little bit more live commentating or so, compared to his 402 Thunder one. You know, every so often he does, but like Thunderstruck Gaming is what he uploads quite a lot more.
To somebody like an Aiden who's having
I just haven't subscribed to it because I completely forgot about it. So.
Great time getting 60 kills in a single match, but everybody that he runs in.
But if I remember correctly, I think I watched him. I don't know if he started in Black Ops 1 or so. I don't remember. It's been such a long time since I remember. I don't remember which video I saw way back in eons, a long time ago or so.
Into has a terrible time, and that's the bigger issue for. Jeez, you remember when?
Of course, there's more commentators, right, from the old G runs, right? Like, what's his name? The Ghost of Athod is still uploading, but he has a different YouTube channel. And then also he just does a lot of like hate Call of Duty videos, right? Which is fuck, what's his name or so? Fuck. I don't remember his name. It'll come up to me in a bit.
That Dragon's Breath shotgun was in the meta. Dude, it was so broken. Anyway, but that's what a lot of these people are requesting, is that they go back.
It's also at the same time, the colors in this game are so ugly, to be honest. They're so washed out, to be honest. Me personally, I've always liked Treyarch's like color palette specifically, because they use a lot of good vibrant colors. You know, it's not always just poo-poo brown, poo-poo green, very, very muted colors and everything like that, right? You know, I've always loved Treyarch's color palette, or so, at least back then, or so. I don't know how it is now, right? But I liked it back then specifically. I just enjoyed Treyarch's games more than I did when it came to what is it, Sledgehammer, and what was the other studio? I think it was Sledgehammer, right? It was Sledgehammer and Treyarch, right? Were the two that did it, right? Yeah, I think so. And I just never really, or Infinity Ward. I think it was Infinity Ward. My bad. Infinity Ward, and Treyarch. I just like Treyarch's games a lot more. The spawns always felt great. You know, the time to kill was always fantastically. Never really hated it personally. The guns actually felt like they actually did stuff. You know, the kill streaks were so fun to play. You know, they actually did. You know, the kill streaks actually kill people. You know, so
back to making this much.
Look at this color scheme. Look at this shit. Dope. I don't. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't like this, to be honest. I feel like I have to squint. I have to like go closer and squint or so to see if there's any enemies off in the distance or so. You know, I have to like squint and see forward in order for me to see, is that someone over there? I can't tell if that's someone over there. Like I can't seem to tell. You know, I just don't like the color palettes of some of these Call of Duties. That's the reason why I just don't like them, because they went into this realistic thing when originally, right? Call of Duty was an arcade shooter. It wasn't realistic. It was its own genre. It had its own identity. And if you wanted to play a more semi-realistic thing, right, you go play Battlefield, you know? Battlefield with all the destructibility, you know, the cars, the tanks, you know, the reloading, and then all this other like more like what is it? Bullet drop or so, right? They had bullet drop specifically. I don't remember, to be honest. I didn't really get into Battlefield that much until Battlefield 3. I played it for a little bit, and then that's pretty much it. You know, I enjoyed the arcadey funness in the older Call of Duties. You know, no matter how hard like they try to do it, right? Like if they manage to succeed with Black Ops 6, right? Because I will be trying it out, right? If they manage to succeed to have that arcadiness, the only thing I'm just not going to enjoy specifically is that they always went with this with the art style of going realism. You know, I'm just not a fan of the realism that they decided to go with. You know, they're pushing the graphics to like 4K, and the next is gonna be 8K textures. You know, and then the game's gonna be 1,000 gigabytes or so when that comes out. You know, when that comes out in the next, I don't know, like 4 years or something like that. You know, and it's just kind of like I'm just like, look, man. Sometimes I just want an arcade shooter, you know. I just want an arcadey shooter, you know. Like as much as like there's some things I don't like about X-Defiant, the X-Defiant like core mechanic of the arcadiness just feels fun, you know. Even there's not really much to do in the game, right? Because I still do miss like the kill streaks, you know, some of the perks, you know, the building of the classes and the attachments, you know, and all this other stuff, you know. That's basically is what I mostly miss the most or so when I play X-Defiant. It just makes me miss older Call of Duty games.
More doable. But what Call of Duty realized is that if you're looking at the broader player base, the majority of
Audrey Treyarch during Modern Warfare days had a team of vets that cared for everything from character design and coding / tech specs patches. Then our quote unquote BFF DEI happened, and then they decided to mud our favorite things to the pooter. Yeah, I think for me specifically, like as much as I don't like Black Ops 4, right? As much as I don't like it that much, I still think like I would still have more fun playing Black Ops 4 compared to playing the newer Call of Duties, you know? Like I think I would still have more fun playing that game compared to some of the new CODs.
People will have a worse time. And recently this sort of popped up in discussions around XDefiant, because a lot of people tried popping into XDefiant, which notably removed skill-based matchmaking. And what happened for a lot of people was they popped in and they might have 1 or 2 rounds where they were curb stomping on people, maybe a couple of rounds that were pretty even, and then they'd have 1 or 2 rounds where they got absolutely demolished because they ran into some people who were really, really good. And that was enough of a turnoff that a lot of the more casual players left. What happens after that is that a lot of those green players that we were looking at,
I'm gonna be honest with you, I think they're just pussies. I think they're just fucking soft at this point. I'm gonna be honest with you, man. Like I said, I got fucking curb stomped. I got my face kicked in or so back in Black Ops 1 or so. And that's what during the time where, like, you know, there were a lot of people who play that game religiously or so, right? Since like the first multiplayer aspect, right? Whenever like multiplayer came out specifically for Call of Duty. I'm gonna be honest with you. Even after I got fucking curb stomped in XDefiant, I still kept playing it or so. You know, the only thing I just don't like is just like the progressive of earning attachments and all that other stuff. That's basically, you know, is what I didn't like specifically. It's just like it left me in a big disadvantage because my guns felt like they weren't doing shit compared to like, you know, compared to other people who were like a little bit more higher level than me, right? And they unlocked more attachments because they played the gun a lot more. And, you know, I just kind of like felt like was kind of because they had double EXP weekend and shit like that, right? So, and the problem is like, you know, for me, right, the only day I can stream for XDefiant, right, because I do work on Saturday, right, is only on Sunday, and it only gives me like 1 day to play fucking to play XDefiant to earn some EXP. So that's the only thing, you know. Get good in game. Softness with no backbone. Get out of my gaze. Back to your hole, UK pro. Yeah, no.
Huge bucket of green that was just massive. It gets cut down. And
no, because you want to know something? Because I put 20 hours or so in the beta for XDefiant, and I had a fucking I had a fun time playing the beta or so. Me and Sage, we played the beta for XDefiant. I put so many hours in the XDefiant beta or so. I had way more fun in the XDefiant beta.
Ends up being a little bit smaller. And then after they get even more curb stomped, because now there's, you know, about...
And that VOD is also available on my Vods channel too as well.
The same number of medium skill players and a few very, very good players, it'll get even smaller. And then you end up with this getting even smaller until eventually there's basically no noobs playing anymore. There's a very few selection of them. In the same way, all of these guys are going to start to get frustrated because they're not curb stomping anybody anymore because there's no more beginner players. They're all fighting each other. And so they get frustrated, but they're fighting each other while also the high skill guys are curb stomping them. So then this pool starts to get even smaller. And it shrinks down even lower, and then it shrinks down even lower. And eventually you just get all of the really high skill players that are playing each other, which was what skill-based matchmaking did in the first place. So removing skill-based matchmaking a lot of the time will just end up getting you to the same exact position you were when you had skill-based matchmaking on, but you have way less players, and you also have really bad feedback from players who are frustrated that they keep getting curb stomped by players that are way better than them. Because frankly,
this is how I personally see it, right? This is what I think what every FPS game should have, okay? There should be a casual public playlist, and then there should be ranked mode. Public casual playlist should not have any skill-based matchmaking, and then ranked play should always have skill-based matchmaking. That's it. That's literally the bottom line. That's all you basically need in an FPS game. You know, just have that specific core mechanic, and that's all you fucking need, to be honest.
Winning is fun. A competitive loss can still be fun, but being the subject of a curb stomping is not fun. And this is apparently what happened. Activision researchers secretly disabled skill-based matchmaking in Call of Duty multiplayer, and quote, it turns out everyone hated it.
It's because, you know, wow, everyone fucking hates it because all of the new generation of people who are playing Call of Duty now these days are getting curb stomped because they fucking suck. They finally found out when they actually fought someone who was actually better than them, got their shit kicked in, and then they're like, wah, wah, wah. I wanna play with people who are quote unquote same skill level as me. PvP is not meant to be easy. People need to get better at video games. Think people need to learn need to learn sometime. Don't win. That's okay. It's so true. Yeah. It's just like wow, man. If I would have played during the time where they turned off skill based matchmaking, man, dude, I would have loved to try it out to see how it was or so. I probably would be shit now these days. I probably wouldn't be that great personally, right? Because because I haven't played I haven't really dedicated myself like an entire year of playing Call of Duty, right? Because that was the time that I did, and my camera's also, well, not my camera, but my internet is acting up again for my fucking goddamn freaking camera here. I remember when they did that in Destiny 2. Oh, they did that for Destiny 2? It was a mess, really. I feel like personally, right? I feel like the old Call of Duty players never had there was skill-based matchmaking, right? Like there was specifically skill-based matchmaking in the old days, right? But I feel like the skill-based matchmaking in that old days were not as not as super constricted or so, right? Compared to how it is now. Like now today, it's a little bit more um more kind of tight on it has a firm grip on you with the skill-based matchmaking now these days. I feel like there needs to be at least a middle ground or so when it comes to this specifically. Also, my camera is just not having, not my camera, but the connection issue with fucking VBridger and goddamn fucking VTube Studio is always having a goddamn issue with each other. I have no idea who to blame with. I've always still been having this godforsaken issue. If VBridger would fucking update their goddamn program, would be kind of nice, I'm just saying. But anyways, it'll connect back soon.
The Call of Duty publisher recently published a sweeping 25-page paper delving into skill-based matchmaking, a sometimes controversial system that aims to connect players with opponents of similar skill level in multiplayer lobbies, and the company found that keeping SBMM intact is
no
in
worries. Take
everyone's
care,
best
killer.
interest.
Thank you for coming
Quote,
by as always.
the matchmaking series, The Role of Skill and Matchmaking paper, confirms that, quote, while skill is one of many factors in matchmaking, it is not the driving force behind Call of Duty's matchmaking system. Although during the research process, Activision, quote, secretly, progressively turned off SBMM and monitored retention. In other words, how many players kept playing even through matches where they were the subject of a blowout. I know a lot of people keep getting triggered. I use the word or term blowout. I'm going to keep using it because I find it funny. And quote, it seemed that everyone hated it, with more quitting, less playing, and more negative blowouts. See,
it's because they found out that someone was better than them and kicking the shit out of their faces. They finally learned that there are other players that are 10 times better than them. It's just kind of it's just wow, I just realized I fucking suck. Please put me back in my bracket place so I can play with people in my skill gap, so I can not improve whatsoever. It just kind of proves that these people are just garbage. I haven't played Call of Duty in a long time, and I can fucking tell immediately, these people just fucking suck. They're just whiny babies, so.
See, I'm not the only one using the word blowout. Okay. Quote, playing a better opponent may push players to become more proficient over time, but being severely outperformed in their matches, our testing has shown, instead leads players to quit matches in progress or to not play multiplayer, Activision explained.
No, that's just me, I'm garbage. Agreed, I'm garbage. It's yeah, of course, you could be more proficient over time, you can get better or so, but the problem is some of these people are just you're now these days, right? How it is now these days, right? I'll give them benefit of the doubt, right? Your average Joe, right? Who has a wife and kids, and all that stuff, can't really put many hours into it, right? Back when they were younger specifically, right? But I assume they've been playing if they've been playing Call of Duty since when they were younger, so back when they were teens, right? I assume that he's going to still be playing Call of Duty almost every yearly, right? Just not going to put as much time into it as much as possible, right? Of course, they're going to be outmatched specifically, but I assume they're still not as weak or so compared to other players specifically who now these days play in their brackets, right? They play in their little small brackets now, in their own protective brackets, and now that I assume that he'll probably be better than them compared to those players or so. It just sounds like it's just like a bunch of people just complaining or so. It's like, oh man, these people were better than me. I got my shit kicked in and blah blah blah. I feel like the old Call of Duty players that we had to deal shit like this. I got multiple times curb stomped. I got fucking like shit kicked in so hard or so that like it didn't make me like quit or anything. It really did not, right? Well, granted, because I never had, I didn't get the console or the game until like way later in the lifespan of Black Ops 1, right? So like I don't know, dude. All I'm hearing is wham, 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 wham. People are better than me. Wham, wham, wham. Turn on skill-based matchmaking. That's what I'm hearing so far, at least.
And again, this is all like pretty easy to follow. If you just think it through and you're like, hey, if I'm constantly getting curb stomped, will I keep playing? Probably not, because that's not fun. And that's precisely why these people that want...
Okay, so if that's true, right? We're going to use this logic specifically, right? I played Black Ops 1, right? I didn't get into the game until way later in the match, right? My friend had more skills than I did, right, back then. I got fucking curb stomped multiple times or so. I was negative in my KD multiple times, And then once I actually got that game myself, I still got fucking curb stomped, like from other players who were just 10 times better than me. But I didn't quit though. I played it every fucking day. I started getting better. I started learning like how to counter certain things, what to watch out for, and everything like that. Turn up my sensitivity a little bit more higher. Learn how to use my sensitivity higher. Control recoil and everything and all that fucking shit, So it's just like, okay, so if you're saying that I'm gonna quit, right, because I'm getting curb stopped completely, right, then why didn't I quit when I was in Black Ops 1? That's my question to ask to you. How come I didn't quit or so when I played Black Ops 1? When I was getting curb stomped or so. And back then, the skill-based matchmaking wasn't as tight as it is now. It's a lot fucking tighter than ever before, Because kids these days are soft. Yeah, probably, to be honest. They are pretty soft, I'm not gonna lie. It's been proven that there's been a lot of kids that just been soft or so. And it's just kind of like, I don't know. It's just like, for me specifically, it's just like, I can't imagine if the lobby these so-called games face prime scump. Oh man, dude. They will instant exit the lobby and uninstall because that man claps anyone coming his way. Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. Like for God's sakes, I want to be as good as I want to get back to my skills as good as Botan, right? It's one of my Oshis that I like to look up to when it comes to FPS games, right? Botan and Doki Bird, those two I really look up to now, unless they fake their gameplays like Sniper Wolf and GGG Gamer, Girl Gone Gamer, so but no, I doubt it now these days. But yeah, no, nonetheless though, like I just feel like a lot of these people are just soft now. I'm gonna be honest with it, they just fucking suck at FPS games. Why do you think there's so many hackers and there's so many people using Cronus ZenMax? Not everyone like you, and back then FPS market is quite limited, so the only choose they had is get good or quit. Yeah, but like Call of Duty sold a lot though. I don't think that it was limited when they sold a lot of copies, Like, look, let's take a look real quick. Let's go back to like, let me see. They sold over 25 million copies worldwide. So I'm like, that's not really a small number to begin with. Especially back then when the population wasn't as big or so. Is there game choices is limited? I don't really remember what came out during that time, specifically during Black Ops 1 days or so. No, there was Medal of Honor. No, did you forget about Medal of Honor? There was Medal of Honor. There was also Halo too for the Xbox side. So, remember, we had other FPS games in there, so. we had other FPS games.
SBMM removed.
That's
It's
how you know. That's how you know I'm an OG. I'm an OG gamer in the FPS scene because I remember of Medal of Honor and so for those that don't remember Medal of Honor, so
precisely why those people want it removed, because they're not having fun going head to head with other players that are either just as high skilled as they are or higher skilled. So they're asking to change the rules so that they can, play with the lower tier players, but then all of those people will leave and you're left with the same problem initially, which is that everybody's just playing each other. All evidence points to SBMM sticking around for the long run, since Activision believes the majority of players can engage in, quote, all parts of Call of Duty's game design and core multiplayer with SBMM turned on. Regardless, the publisher is considering a single core multiplayer play.
Also, I think Nero Cinema uploaded a video of like how SBMM is like a lie or so, which we'll probably be taking a look at it after. I'm not gonna make a video on it, but we're gonna take a look at it and take after this video.
Playlist that does not use skill as a factor in matchmaking, though, quote, historical testing reveals that low and mid-skill players would be unlikely to participate in such a playlist, which again is precisely what happens if those players pop in and get curb stomped by higher skill players that are looking for an easier match. So you'll just end up with the same thing. If you turn off skill-based matchmaking, their testing has shown that low and mid-skill players leave and don't bother playing those playlists. So effectively, it's just a high-skill playlist.
But yeah, but those people, I played game modes that had like people who had like fucking high skill base, back then or so, right? I played Domination, I played Headquarters, I played Capture the Flag. I don't remember if it had kill confirm ? And then I think they had like oh man, I don't remember this. I don't remember the game modes or so from back then. That's one of the only ones I remember. I low-key wanted Medal of Honor to do well. It had potential to go somewhere, but after Warfighter, it went down. It went downward. Yeah, I heard that the last one or so, at least for that, and that's one of the games or so failed miserably or so. I don't know what transpired of it to go downwards or so. But that's how you know. That's how you know how old school I am, because fucking Medal of Honor,
So it doesn't achieve anything, and I think that this is it's interesting to see it borne out in the actual data, because you can see that this is an actual paper. I will post the link to this in our chats, so if you're interested in reading it yourself, you can actually go through this, because this is a full research paper on
we OGs keep it real.
How they actually do it, how it works, and the data backing up skill percentile bucket, and they break down how they match and what player retentions are like. And so if you have any
it's because the new players for Call of Duty are just garbage, ever since they went towards this like realistic shit, I feel like that's I'm gonna put a theory or so. I bet you that's where the SBMM like started getting more tighter. So when it started changing into the more realism shit, besides getting the arcadey shooterness, right? I feel like that's where it started or so. And then ever since then, like anyone who's like played Call of Duty after the realism shit, right? I feel like that's where, that's where like a lot of the younger generations have played Call of Duty, and they play with like people in the same similar skill level, they don't improve, they don't get better, they think they're good, but they're not good. I'm sorry to burst your bubble, you think you're good, but you're not good, okay? I'm sorry.
Doubt or question about it, this just breaks it down in excruciating detail. But the core...
You can go play Viva Pinata, it'd probably make you feel better, just saying.
Findings are just simply that people don't like getting curb stomped, and when they get curb stomped,
they don't like getting curb stomped. They're so cute. You want me to hold your hand? You want me to hold you like a little baby or so? Oh man, where was my hand holding or so back then when I was getting my fucking face kicked in back in Black Ops 1, huh? Where's my hand holding, huh? Where was my baby cradling or so, huh? Where was that shit, huh? Yeah, okay, all right. I'm telling you, dude, the OGs are just built different compared to the newer generations, and this is just a proven factor. So that they piss and complain, they kick the bucket or so, and they quit or so just because they're getting their shit kicked in, Bring these COD players to PvP Turok or Titanfall 2. I will make them wish they didn't touch an FPS game. Man, dude, Titanfall players are just a fucking new level of like crackness, to be honest. Hey, comedy.
They stop playing. So if you turn off skill-based matchmaking fully, you're just going to end up with low and mid-skill players leaving only high-skill players who just end up playing each other.
I think in my personal opinion, to find the middle ground, for this, right? I think just have a, either find a new tech or so, or try to like balance out the teams a little bit more, right? I think in my personal opinion, I think there should be at least like 1 or 2 good players on opposite teams. And then you have mid players. And then either the last one or the last 2 should be shitty players. And then that should be how it is or so. You know, I think that's like the right balance. If they can manage to do that specifically in an FPS game every single time, right? Every single match, just like that specifically, I think we would find a nice middle ground when it comes to this. Because then you have 2 skilled players or 1 skilled player on each team, you know, and then you have average players, like above average players on both teams, right? Like let's see, how many people was it? 5 people on each team or 6 players on each team, right? You can just have like 1 good player, and then you can have like, I don't know, like 4 like average, above average on both sides, and then the last one would probably be a shitty player, and then that's pretty much about it. So,
which is exactly what skill-based matchmaking was doing anyways. But now you have 80% of your player base, 90% of your player base leave. So that doesn't work. And on the flip side, I see some people like, why don't we do something like, you know, have one playlist, as they alluded to, one playlist that is not enabled for skill-based matchmaking, and it's just a total free-for-all. Their research apparently shows that low to mid-skill players will just leave and not bother anyways. Maybe this is it. We can see that loosening skill negatively impacts our ability to keep players interested in our game. In a test similar to deprioritized skill tests discussed above, we were able to see significant decrease in the number of players playing Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019 and an increase in the overall match quit rate when treated with a looser.
It sounds like they just quit because they got their shit kicked in, you know? That's what it sounds like, you know? They just started complaining. They just started whining and being a bunch of babies, to be honest, you know?
Skill match with a looser skill matching. Subsequent
pretty much sounds like a real military squad. You have 2 commandos, the mid players and the expendable grunts, and the trash / newbies players as a reinforcements for the mids. Yeah, they could have just done that. Like if they managed to do something like that for the technology for skill-based matchmaking. It's probably possible to do it. For God's sakes, we live what, in the year of 2024? You guys can't seem to solve that or so? I bet you there is. I bet you just don't want to turn that on or so.
Attempts to protect only the bottom 25% of players and allow for looser matchmaking for the remaining 75% of players also had clear negative effects on player counts over 2 weeks.
Why? I'm gonna be honest with you. Anything that comes from Activision or so, I take it as a grain of salt. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna be honest with you. Anything that I see from what Activision speaks or so, I just take it as a grain of salt. I'm gonna be honest with you, man. That company has soiled their name multiple times. They've dragged their names through the mud or so, and like, yeah. So anything from the mouth of Activision, I just take it as a grain of salt. Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't really take this serious either. No matter how much research or data you show me, if I'm not there in the studio and looking at this shit live in person, I'm gonna take this as a grain of salt. I'm gonna be honest with you.
With increased quit rates and reductions in total hours played, both of which are well established as negative indicators of self-reported fun, which kind of makes sense. If you're having fun, you'll play more, so that lines up. Another example.
Yeah, I'm not having fun, and I played the new Call of Duty, and I wasn't having fun. And I would assume I'm in the skill-based matchmaking in the same people who are like the same level as me, you know? So I'm just kind of like, you know, I wasn't having fun because at the end of the day, right, the mechanics of the game itself and the style and the artistic way that they chose now these days it's just not great, to be honest. We unfortunately gotta take it like that, lol, because Activision just keeps on taking L's left and right, and they're still scratching their brainless heads why they aren't doing well. Well, they still sell Call of Duty, so they still sell Call of Duty. But the problem is they're gonna lose. They're gonna lose their player base, and the only player base are gonna be there are just a bunch of casuals. That's it. They're just literally killing their hardcore fan base that made Call of Duty. You know, that's the problem, right? I bet you there's still some people who still play Call of Duty to this day, ever since the first the first multiplayer Call of Duty, which was Modern Warfare. You know, I bet you there's still like it's probably like a small percentage now, but I bet you those people still play it, you know, from then on and on. But I bet you they don't play it as often, right? For the newer Call of Duty, because either number one, they got, you know, they got a real life, they got their shit together, you know, they got a family and shit, or number two, it's like they just don't find the game fun anymore, you know? Like they'll play it from time to time, but they won't play it like every single day like they did when they were younger or so, because they've seen the, you know, they've seen the progress and the changes and the things that the decisions that they made or so specifically for the game, you know. It's just not going in the right direction, you know. And then now they're bringing back features that they got rid of a long time ago, you know, because I've heard like, oh, we're bringing back theater mode in Call of Duty Black Ops 6, and I'm just like I'm like, wow, this is supposed to be a new feature? Damn, that shit's been here since like the old days. You guys just fucking took it out, you know? And then like, you know, they still didn't bring back what is it? Like the stat sheet or so. Like back in Black Ops 1, like they had like a super in-depth of like stat sheets of like all of this other stuff, you know, and all, you know. I still play the PS2 Call of Duty World War II because that game is still good to play. Man, I still I don't know if I still have those, but I used to the first 3 Call of Duties were the ones I played back then or so.
Was a test to tighten skill in Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. This had inverse results consistent with the results of the loosening test. Quit rate was down for 90% of players, and we saw other improvements in the experience of low skill players, KPM and SPM. However, we observed negative impacts for high skill players. As a result, this change was not rolled out as a standard approach in Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 as we continue to strive for our balance for a balance in our approach to matchmaking. And this is the core thing. Our goal has always been to make Call of Duty as enjoyable for as many players as we can.
Not for your hardcore audience, no. You're only catering to the casuals because they bring in the money or so for the skins, which I have no problem, right? But the problem is, what I have an issue with, right, is that you're paying like what, a $70 game or so, and then they're adding skins on top of that specifically, and then you have to pay for those skins, and those skins cost about like roughly like what, $20 to $30 or so, right? At least make the game free, for God's sakes, you know. At this point, make Call of Duty free and then just sell skins, you know? You're gonna make way more money if you just like make the game for free, right? And then you just sell skins, you know. That's just the only thing. Like I have no problem with like cosmetic stuff, right? I have no issues, you know, they want to make an extra buck and stuff like that, right? But the problem is like they just fucking shit out these like skins like consistently, right? And they only do it for like some of the casual people. Ranges between $20 to $40. Damn, $20 to $40. God damn, I didn't know it go up to $40. God lord. Ooh, yikes. God damn, you can literally buy Concord with that money. God damn. Holy shit. But yeah, like I said, you know, at this point, just make the game for free now these days. Just make the game for free. Have a live service Call of Duty game. I bet you that shit will pop off so damn much because it's free to play. And then you just have all these skins, you know, all these microtransactions and stuff. And then you got the free updates for maps and all this other stuff. I could use that money for gas to go to work. Yeah, it's just like, you know, it's like not really any of the skins like intrigue me. I think the only skin that like intrigued me or so was one of the I think Diablo 3 skin or so. When they were having the Diablo collaboration or so, that guy with the hood and everything, that was pretty cool. Because I know that guy. I've seen that guy. I've seen that guy specifically a lot or so. So I thought he was pretty cool. And then like the Gundam collab or so that they had in Call of Duty was a pretty cool one. I thought that one was pretty neato or so, but we all know it's not like a full Gundam suit or anything like that.
And we'll continue to experiment with how we can provide a better experience for all our players. This is the whole thing. It's not about catering to the high skill players. It's about catering to the most players.
Of course, they're catering to the most players because they bring in the most money. That's the only reason why, is because they bring in the most money, and then they're completely shitting on their hardcore fan base, right? They've been there since like the beginning, right? That made Activision what they are today, you know. They're just completely shitting on them. I think you should find a middle ground between these. You know, like I said, you should definitely find a middle ground. Is there even like, well, I don't know. I haven't played any of the. I haven't really played that long for the new Call of Duties, right? Is there even a ranked play or so in the newer Call of Duties? I know there were. I think there was one in Cold War, I think, but I don't remember, to be honest. I only played it for like a little bit for Cold War. Granted, because there was not really that many people playing Cold War or so, but like that's pretty much frankly about it. You know, that's all I basically remember. Is like, do they even have rank play for any of the new Call of Duties, like the first three Modern Warfares, like the most recent Modern Warfares? Is there even any rank play for those things? Because I know in the older Call of Duties there were rank play. You know, you separated your rank play and your casuals playlist. You just had two different playlists specifically. You know.
Possible. And that sometimes means ticking off the higher skill players, because frankly, there's a whole lot more low skill and mid skill players than there are.
Yeah, because they fucking suck. That's why, you know. I used to play Cold War. I'll honestly admit that was fun. That was fun personally. I played the beta for the for Cold War. I just didn't like how slow it was. It just felt slow. Like I felt like the movement was super slow, especially playing some of the older Call of Duties, right? I was just like, fuck, dude, I feel like I'm a fucking elephant or something. Like I felt like I was fucking like the most slowest thing on planet Earth or something, you know? It just didn't felt right, you know, for me.
Are high skill players, and I would not be shocked if there's also a lot more money coming in from low and mid tier players compared to the smaller number of high skill players.
Yeah, no, there's definitely like, that's why they cater to the casuals a lot more with Call of Duty, because they bring in the money, because we all know for a fact like the hardcore players are not gonna bring in the money or so for them, you know. They're usually people who play the game for like more than 40 hours, more than 80 hours a week or so, you know, and like don't spend money or so, you know, and they grind their life away or so in Call of Duty or so, not even taking a shower, you know, not even getting off the game or anything like that, just completely go at it, you know. The movement was faster after beta, but the aim and shoot was slower. I will admit that. I don't know. For me, the movement felt super slow because I played Cold War a couple times or so on stream, but it felt like super slow.
Players, it like the reporting is pretty clear. I mean, with this, I think if you are opposed to skill-based matchmaking, still fully and outright, you're kind of stuck in a position where you have to call into question some of this research from them, which is kind of tough to do, because unless you yourself have the data directly, I don't know how you're going to be able to do it, or counter it.
Do it live. Show me the data live. Do it to me live. I want you to stream that shit. Show it to me live right here, right now.
Don Jaws, thank you also for subbing with Prime over on Twitch, my friend. Thank you. So I think that's tough to counter, and so maybe the alternative is to say make a playlist that just doesn't have matchmaking at all, or skill-based matchmaking rather. Yeah, a playlist with no matchmaking. Make a playlist that doesn't have any skill-based matchmaking, but again, whenever they've done that, low and mid-tier players don't bother playing that playlist.
Yeah, but when did they do it though? When did they do the playlist? What was the playlist called or so? Because I assume they did it in the Modern Warfare 3, right? So what was the playlist called? I want to see the numbers, and I want to see which playlist was the ones that got that had the skill-based matchmaking off, you know. So or when did they do this like skill-based matchmaking off in general, you know?
So it's a playlist without skill-based matchmaking that only high skill players are going into. So you didn't fix anything. Yeah. Love Train, this isn't the first time COD devs have released data, bro. COD community just can't handle the truth. Well, I think it's just Call of Duty. Like, one of the reasons I got turned off from Call of Duty is because it got so sweaty all the time. Like, no matter where you were playing or what you were doing, you came in with 15 guys bunny hopping all over the place and doing the slide canceling stuff. And then there was that one exploit where it was like the slithering snake exploit or something.
So if he was playing with sweaty players, right? That means this guy has at least above a 1 or 2 KD, you know? So he's matching with people in that same skill bracket, you know?
something. I think they patched it out, but so it's like,
or playing with people who are like 10 times better than him, you know, because he's good as well, you know. So you're saying that the skill-based matchmaking is not a big thing, but then now you're saying that you didn't like it because it was super sweaty, but that's just skill-based matchmaking kicking in, or so basically protecting the younger, the less skilled players, so they're not fighting against you.
some way to like, I think it's spamming the like crawl, but also the prone buttons at the same time, and so you just end up with people that are slithering across the floor like a snake, but can move at like running speeds.
Well, that's just a mechanic that Activision. It's just an exploit that was left or so that someone discovered it.
And like when you see that coming to you in the game, it's like, okay, I'm good. Like that will get me to turn off the game. It'll just like, that turns me off, in the same way that running into somebody like an Aiden who just demolishes you because he's like a pro player and very, very good, that's going to make you turn off the game. And we've all been there where you play a match in a game like this and you just curb stop somebody and you just hear somebody just, you know, through the comms, okay, I'm done for the night. And then it cuts off. Like we've all been there where you hit some crazy snipe and it just doesn't feel fun or good. And so it turns somebody off and they shut off the game as a result. And that happens.
Can I hear that again? Hold on, can I hear that again real quick?
We've all been there where you hit some crazy snipe and it just doesn't feel fun or good. And so it turns somebody off and they shut off the game as a result.
You hit some crazy snipe, but then the other person gets upset that you hit this crazy snipe, and then they decide to shut off the game and uninstall it. Do you hear yourself when you say that? Oh my fucking... Dude, that just sounds like a baby fucking playing Call of Duty, dude. I'm gonna be honest with you, man. Oh my god, dude. Man, these are the players that are today playing Call of Duty. Man, dude. Imagine if I still played Call of Duty, man. I would have dumpstered all of these kids, to be honest. I can't with these fakes. God, I wish I still kept playing Call of Duty, but it was just not getting fun whatsoever, man. Oh, man, dude. Damn, that is fucking... I'm gonna be honest with you. That is hilarious to hear that someone rage quits because someone did a 360 no-scope on your ass. God, Jesus Christ. What a bunch of babies. I'm gonna be honest with you, man. All I hear is just a bunch of people complaining from these noob communities. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'll be honest with you. You know what's funny? What's funny? I don't know, dude. I'm gonna be honest with you. This is just fucking funny, to be honest. Like, hearing this and listening to this in general, right? That people are just complaining or so because they're not good. Because, yeah, you're not good because you've been playing, like, the same people of your match skills for this entire time, you know? Getting sniped by a skill trick shot by old school honors rule. You take the L like a gamer. Yeah, like even in the old days, if you got fucking trick shotted on, you know, that was, you know, and you see it at the final kill cam, it's fucking cool, you know. I think a year ago I got a message from some rando that got angry because of some PvP game because apparently because I apparently dumpster them, and I'm like, when did this happen? Oh, 1 week ago, I see. Bro, dude, it's just these people, these generations are just fucking soft, man. I don't give a fuck, dude. I don't care if that makes you angry or whatever, you know. I'm gonna be honest with you. You're just a baby. I'm gonna be honest with you. If you cannot handle someone doing a no-scope trick shot from far away or so, hitting a collateral too on top of that, you know, just from a lucky random shot or so, you know, or if they're skilled and whatnot, right? And they did that to you specifically, and you got butthurt about it specifically, get the fuck off the game. Turn off the game and literally go touch some grass. Holy cow, dude. I'm gonna keep it a bug. If you and I kept up with our COD gaming, I DM you one day and say, "So, wanna make peeps cry to satisfy our bellies?"
And that happens with these types of games a lot, unfortunately. But
that's the whole point of a PvP game. You're going up against people who are like, you're not going up against AI, you know? It's not it's not person versus, you know, computer. You're going up against person to person, you know? There's just some people that are just better than you, and that's a fucking fact, you know? Like that's just a fucking fact, you know? If someone's better than you, just get good. That's it, you know? Just go learn the game, learn the mechanics, learn what you can do. And if you have a limit, well, that's your limit, you know? If that's where your skill cap is at, that's where it's at, you know? That's it, you know? If you can't get, unfortunately, I can't get good anymore because I messed up my nerves or so in my hands, so I'm not as good as I used to be anymore. But I still play it. Like I still play these FPS games, even if I get curb stomped. I'm still like, you know, I'm still enjoying it. The only thing I just don't like specifically, if like earning the attachments and like for the guns and shit like that takes a long fucking time, that's gonna make me turn off the game immediately because it just feels like I'm fucking. It takes me like so long to unlock an attachment or so. And like when does my gun get good? You know, it's just like, you know, that immediately just makes me want to turn off the game. You know. I do want to tag in with that, Gasper. Last time I tried out Warfare. I assume Warfare. 3 out of 5 matches I got called hacker. That's just how the Call of Duty community is. They call people hackers. They call people like wow, you must be some loser. So, you know, you always playing the game 24/7. Go touch some grass. You know, go take a shower. You know, if you like, it's like. They'll do shit on people who are good, like who are really, 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 really good, right? There's like average players that shit on like really good players or so. Because I got shat on multiple times once I started getting like super good, right? And you know, they always called names and shit. They called me like every slur in the book, right? Because I was actually really decently good. You know, I wish I would have had the old clips or so. I would have loved to show you guys old clips of stuff like that, but unfortunately, I don't really have that many clips or so because it was a pain in the ass trying to get clips or so, you know. So I accidentally taught the kid the noob combo at my workplace when they were talking about Fortnite. Are you serious?
That's why matchmaking is so crucial. And I just don't know how you counter the data. Like if they have data that shows, yeah, when we turn skill-based matchmaking off.
Okay, but what about the data in the old days of Call of Duty, huh? There was skill-based matchmaking, but it's not as fucking firm and grip as tight as it was how it is now these days, you know? I got fucking curb stomped back in those days, but I didn't turn off the game. I didn't turn off the game. I still kept playing it, and I started getting, you know, sooner or later I learned about the game and what kill streaks work and everything. What did I like or so? Which guns I like? Which ones I want to improve on specifically? Learn the recoil pattern. Learn which attachments are good for it. You know, it's all of a learning curve at the end of that's what an FPS game is, just a learning curve. You just gotta learn to get good. It's the same thing as like as Souls-like games. It's just fucking get good. That's it, you know?
More players quit more frequently. More players disconnect in the middle of matches. So they're just leaving immediately. And so it's just not fun for everybody. So everybody's gonna turn it off, and that's what our data shows when we're not telling you. It reminds me of, what's the name of the dev who worked, I think, on CSGO, I want to say it was, and he was telling a story how people were constantly complaining about like ping times.
Let's just say there is SBMM there, a thing called smurfing, so you're still gonna play with someone that is better. Yeah. So even if like I said, even if there is skill-based matchmaking, you know, someone could just make a smurf account and just completely, you know, just completely dumpster them even then.
And they thought that they weren't hitting shots or they were failing because of ping times. So one day they issued a patch where they just did a flat like -50 to the latency stat that people would have pulled up. It wasn't true. Like you could have 60 millisecond pings, but they were like, okay, we'll just do -50. And so it shows a 10 millisecond ping. And people reported and were like, wow, this new update's great. I feel so much sharper. My shots are hitting better. This is great. It's like, nothing changed, but people's impressions of things changed. Their perception of things changed. And it just feels like with a lot of this stuff, it's already like the impressions have been set, and unless something changes or the perspectives shift, I'm not sure if those people will ever be really satisfied. Because you can go and you can add a playlist that has no SBMM, but like they said, everybody's just going to go and play other modes. So it's
okay, then let them go play other modes. Give the players options. If you don't give the players options, then what's the point, you know? Like honestly, like just give the players options specifically, you know, just let them have their playlist. Just let them have their playlist at the end of the day. Let them have it. You know, let them have their playlist. Let them go play with their no skill-based matchmaking playlist, and then you have the other one that's just normal public matches or so, and it has that, you know? Yeah, just give options at this point, you know?
it's not really going to do anything. But when people are tested without being informed that they're being tested, when they're just being tested on the raw data of their behaviors, you see people that get turned off to it. And
besides that, a lot of the player base, like the hardcore audiences, right, of Call of Duty, they've already left Call of Duty. I'm one of them. I'm one of those people that was a hardcore Call of Duty player. I'm raising my hand right now that I was one of them. I left a long time ago, and there's been a lot of people that have left too as well, specifically that don't play Call of Duty anymore, you know? And if you're gonna test this, like skill-based matchmaking thing, make an announcement to old Call of Duty players that used to play the game, and then bring them in, and then let's see the actual data, you know? Because you did this out of randomness, right? Because you only tested it to the people that you have right now, the people that your fan base, your casuals, your normies, your average players, and your fucking skill-based players, right? That have been there for a while, right? Are right now, or those are the ones that you tested on. But you never tested on the old school players. A lot of the old school players are gone. Like, there's not really a lot of them there anymore, you know? Like, I'm one of them, and I don't really play it for that much, to be honest. I can't really sit down and play Call of Duty that much because it's just not fun, you know? It's just really not enjoyable. You know, for me specifically, I miss the arcadey shooterness, you know? The twitchy arcadiness. I just don't like this realism thing. Like, if I want to play realistic, I go play fucking Ready or Not, you know? Or any other realistic shooter game, you know? Or the most recent one, Body Cam, you know? I know a few who now play Battlefield and Fortnite, still good friends.
and stop playing more frequently. You see people disengaging because it just doesn't work as well. Thank you, Crusader, for the 200 bits. Thank you, my friend. Call of Duty has completely lost its identity to me. It's no longer a special serious war game, but a discount parody of Fortnite. I mean, I've also gotten really turned off by a lot of the choices they.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, that's also very true because it's just overall, it's just not what it used to be. It's definitely Call of Duty has lost its identity. It doesn't even know what it wants to be anymore, you know? Where Call of Duty back in the old days, right? Call of Duty set the stoners, so, you know, because they were going up against fucking Battlefield, you know? They were going against... Remember back then when Battlefield versus Call of Duty, which one was better? Two Goliaths is going against each other, like, which FPS was, like, the best FPS, you know? For me, I didn't really care, to be honest. It wasn't really my cup of tea. Like, I was like, you both are fucking stupid, you know? Each one has their own specialty in their own special way. Just accept both of them at the end of the day, you know? I think you both sound stupid. That's what I told people. They're just like, you guys are fucking dumb. Like, just like, they're both great. Why can't we just have games for everybody, you know, that has a taste for every person, you know? Like it just doesn't make any sense for me, right? But like, yeah, Call of Duty has lost its identity over, you know, for me specifically, it lost it when it started going towards this weird, like when it started losing the arcadiness, and I think that they changed engines, right? They changed engines. I remember they changed engines, and then they started going for this realistic thing. Back then it was Bad Company versus COD. I still till this day, I don't know why they changed the name to Battlefield. I don't know, to be honest.
I remember Bad Company. Out of Warzone back during COVID and lockdowns and stuff. It was like an addiction, dude. I played a lot of it, but since then it got way too.
I played Genshin Impact or so during COVID. I didn't play Warzone. I think I got in. One of my friends made me play Warzone. I played for like a little bit, but it's just It's just the one thing that I hate about it. It's just the shield mechanic. That's it. Get rid of the shield mechanic, and oh my god, I would be popping off like no tomorrow. Every time I crack somebody with a shield, I'm just like, man, dude, that would have been a kill right there. That would have been a kill instantly.
Sweaty. The some of the design choices they made were really, really weird, and I don't know. It just didn't connect with me. I fell out of love. Fell out of love with it. So Battlefield had a similar thing where players thought that a shotgun did too little damage, so they changed the audio that the shots had more bass, and people thanked them for the fix. That's really funny, Edwin. I mean, it's just once, it's like I've said before with a lot of stuff, it's perception over reality, or in some cases, perception is reality.
Yeah, but the reality is in the old Call of Duties or so, you know, the facts were that like SBMM was not as tight as it is now. Even if there was SBM, right? I'm gonna give it benefit of the doubt, right? If there was SBMM back then or so, it was not as tight as it is now, you know? Like I said, I got my shit kicked in multiple times. I got fucking rained on fucking what is it? Napalm strikes, fucking sentry guns, fucking chopper gunners, fucking dogs or so. I got also fucking blackbirded on too as well, so.
If the perception is that the shotgun does too little damage because it doesn't sound right, but they don't even realize it's because it doesn't sound right, you have to deal with the perception that the community thinks the shotgun doesn't do enough damage. So you can fix it by increasing the damage, or in their case, they change the audio so it sounds like it does more damage.
Is that true? I don't know about the Battlefield one. Is that actually really true? They actually did that in Battlefield or so? They changed the audio or so for the shotgun to make it sound like it's stronger or so. I don't know. I don't really buy that, to be honest. Where's the proof in that, huh? Where's the proof in that? I want to see that. Where's the actual dev notes for that specific one?
They dealt with the perception, even though factually it doesn't actually change anything. People feel better because the perception's changed. And in the same vein, like if the perception is that skill-based matchmaking is bad, that's kind of what they have to deal with. So maybe they announce something where it's like, we're not doing skill-based matchmaking, we're introducing a new AI matchmaking.
I have no idea why shotguns are mid in COD, since Activision want realism. Trench sweepers would be high tier like snipers. I need a Foley designer to confirm this take from a shotgun sound. Yeah, I need the facts. Show me the facts or so for this claim that you guys are talking about for the Battlefield one. I don't believe it. I honestly generally do not believe it for some apparent reason.
They do some buzzword like that, and it's skills, like it's still skill-based matchmaking, but maybe they do something where they like analyze, okay, you've had 5 really tough games, very close, we're gonna throw you a bone with 1 blowout game for the first 50 matches you do.
Wait, that's what they do now, right? Is that what he's talking about? Like the middle ground or so for this?
It's skills, like it's still skill-based matchmaking, but maybe they do something where they like analyze, okay, you've had 5 really tough games, very close, we're gonna throw you a bone with 1 blowout game.
That's what they do right now. That's literally what they do right now. You play like a couple games and you lose, or it's like you don't win or anything, right? And then one of the games, and then they give you like a few games or so that you start winning or so. That's literally what they do now.
For the first 50 matches we do that, and then after you play a lot with the new update, it goes back to regular SBMM. Maybe they do that and everybody's fine, and
that's what they do right now. That's literally what they do right now. That's already been proven or so that's what they do right now. But the problem is it's like it's not as common or it's not as frequent or so. It's like you get very little games that you do win, and then the rest of the games you always get curb stomped, you know, because of the how tight the skill-based matchmaking is, you know. And it's just kind of like, you know, you always completely play with like sweaty players all the time, because apparently you're good. You're so good that you have to start playing with these like MLG players now, like people who like sweat their dicks off, you know. So And then after you start losing a couple games, you know, they give you like a pity or so, you know. They'll be like, "Oh, okay, you played a few games and you got your shit kicked in by these other high skill cap players. Here you go. We'll give you this so you can like you know."
People just move on because the perception will have changed. But that's unfortunately just the problem with a lot of this stuff, is that it feels like there's very, very little that can be done to actually change people's minds. Everybody,
I think the best way to do it is my opinion that I said or so. Have at least like one or two skilled good, like, you know, like I said, like one or four good skilled players, right? Have them have split it up, right? Have two on each side or one on each side that is super high tier rank, and then you got your mid, your average, you know, above average players being like what, four slots or so, right? 4 slots specifically, like 4 slots for those. And then the bottom tier can be like a shitty player, and then that's it. You know, you can just have it like that, you know? I think that's the most balanced out specifically, because I've noticed that most of these Call of Duties, right? Because I played some of the newer Call of Duties, right? Not for a really long time because I was just not feeling it specifically. They've always had this weird skill-based matchmaking where either you, who is a really good player, right? Because we're gonna put people in example, right? We're gonna pick one person from the audience, right? That's a really good fucking player, right? Always gets put it on the opposite team, right? Of 6, right? 6v6, right? But then the rest of the 5 players specifically are just from bad to terrible, okay? From like bad to terrible. There's not even no average people whatsoever. They go negative. I've seen it multiple times because I've experienced it too as well. And then also on the opposite team, you'll have like 2 really outstanding players, right? And then you have average players, and then you have 1 shitty player, you know? I'm just like, the balance is just not there, you know? They just need to find a way to break the teams up just to be a lot more better. I feel like they can do it, but they just don't want to do it, you know? They don't want to do it because there's been other data specifically, like they've shown other stuff, right? There's some other data that specifically has been showing out that Activision like manipulates a lot of this shit in the behind the scenes, you know? Because apparently there was 1 leak or so specifically, right? I think they showed data or so specifically that like people who buy skins from the store get matched up with people who don't have skins, right? And then that gives incentiveness from people who do not have skins to buy skins or so. And apparently that's part of the matchmaking system for one of the Call of Duty games. I don't know which specific one was it, because I remember hearing this quite a long time ago or so. But I remember that being a thing in general. So that's why I just don't believe anything that comes out of Activision's mouth, you know, just because, you know, time and time again, they've been proven to be not great, you know?
has already decided that the like skill-based matchmaking is bad, and so they're just throwing a fit. But the casual gamers don't really care. Casual gamers, in fact, do care. They might not know why, but they do care when it's turned off because they stop playing as much.
Yeah, because they fucking suck. That's it, you know? The casual players are just casuals, and they're not gonna get good. They think they're good. As long as the casual players know that they will never ever get good, and they know that they suck, and they're not in this weird headcanon that they think they're the fucking best Call of Duty player out there, then I'm okay with it, you know? As long as they realize and face the facts that they are shit players until the end of time, you know, until they turn off skill-based matchmaking completely forever, never, never, then yeah, I'll accept the skill-based matchmaking. But if I hear casual players saying that I'm fucking good, you know, and I can curb stomp you and stuff like that, you know, if I hear a casual player literally telling me that specifically, like your average Joe, you know, telling me that specifically of someone who played Call of Duty a long time ago, right? And then if I would have still kept playing Call of Duty till from back then, from Black Ops 1 till now or so, and I hear a casual player tell me that specifically, I will literally fucking curb stomp their face so hard for them to understand that we are not the same.
And they disconnect and all that.
Yeah, that was a good video, to be honest. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's a pretty good video. I don't really hate it personally. Like, I disagree with a lot of the things he say, right? Personally, right? Because I think me personally, all I hear is just a bunch of whiny babies or so about Call of Duty, about a bunch of casual players being a bunch of babies or so, not taking, you know, not taking the hit or so, you know, just getting their butt spanked, you know. That's what it sounds like to me. To me at this very moment, that's what it fucking sounds like. It sounds like a bunch of casual players complaining or so about skill-based matchmaking. That like, don't turn it off, don't turn it off, leave it on or so, you know. And I'm just kind of like, God. Okay, but if you know, if that's true, right? We'll leave skill-based matchmaking on. I just don't want to hear any casuals telling me, "Oh, I'm so good, you know, I'm such a good player. I can be like a pro player and blah 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 blah." I'm gonna be like, I don't think so, buddy. I don't think so. So yeah, like I said, it was a pretty good video. It was a very enjoyable. I don't hate Luke personally. So he's a he does a lot of things or so. I do disagree on it. Like 100%. I do disagree that that they should find a middle ground or so when it comes to the skill based matchmaking or so, because it does feel like at times it does feel very tight indeed. It feels insanely tight for no apparent reason, you know. So yeah, like I said, I would love to see the actual data of people who are hardcore Call of Duty fans, right? Who have like a high, like what, 3.0, above a 3.0. I'd say above 3.0. I think 4 should be like the top tier or so, and then 3.0 should be like above average. 2 should be like average, and then everything below 1 or so should be like shit players. I want to see the actual numbers of like what percentage of the audiences are still like what a lot. I know there's gonna be a lot of like 1.0s, right? Between 1.0s and 2.0s, right? But I feel like I want to see the numbers specifically. But anyways, that's just my opinion or so. You guys can tell me. You guys can leave me down in the comment sections down below what you guys think of so specifically on this. I'm gonna be honest with you. See, the main issue that I see in these games, I don't understand balancing the teams. This is why I advocate for lobbies staying inside of the lobbies, disbanding after one match. If the lobby is still there after the match, there can be a system that balances the team after every match to make it make the game feel more different. I don't know how it'll work for squads, since that might be harder to control. But having lobbies that stay instead of disbanding might help the team balancing every match. I feel like this might solve the SBMM issue, because the only reason why the older games were so much more fun is because lobbies didn't disband after every match, and there was a system that rearranges teams to balance the next match. Plus it might make games feel more like a community, so I see no downside to this unless it uses peer-to-peer matchmaking. Yeah, like even in the old days, they had lobbies or so, and if you were getting like curb stomped and you didn't like the lobby or so, you just leave. You as the player has the option to leave the lobby to go find a new lobby, you know? If you don't like the lobby that you're in, the player had the choice to leave the lobby and go find a different lobby. It's very simple as fact. But now these days they disband the fucking lobbies or so. And then, you know, SBMM is just kind of like kicks you both in the face, you know, and it's just kind of like, you know. But yeah, anyways, I wanted to see this video specifically, you know. Like I said, it was a good video. I actually quite enjoyed it, you know. And like, you guys can give it a like or so. Luke Steven's live or so. Very good video. I do enjoy it or so. He has some good quality. He has some good quality content or so. Specifically, I do disagree or so for some of the things specifically, right? Because you're saying that like, you know, if skill-based matchmaking wasn't a thing or so, then why wasn't it protecting me or so back then or so, you know? So I got my face kicked in multiple times, but I just learned to get good. That's it, you know? But anyways, that's it. That's the end of the video. You guys can let me know what you guys think, you know, comment, like, subscribe, you know, do all that fancy jazzy stuff, and tell me what you guys think. You think Luke is correct, you know? You think everything that is saying here is correct or so? Do you believe Activision? Because I sure as hell do not believe Activision myself. I'm just saying I don't believe it. But, you know, because, you know, it's Activision at the end of the day, you know? So, but yeah, anyways, that's the end of the video. Anyways, peace.